Welcome to my spiritual journal. It's your girl, Iona. So in this video, I'm going to share with you, it's day 4 of sharing about intentional living. I'm going to share some more tips. I'm going to share the habits that I have for intentional living, and I'm going to share what I do for my spiritual morning routine. So again, I have my Soul Legacy journal. There are going to be links in the description and in the comments if you want to have a copy of that. It will be on Amazon, and the spiral bound version will be on Lulu. I got this yesterday. If you haven't seen, today is day 4, so I got this yesterday. I'm super excited. I've been journaling and journaling in color. It's just been it feels really amazing to not only journal for intentional living and share with you how I create an intentional life, and share my spiritual morning routine, my spiritual daytime routine, my nighttime routine, and my spiritual evening, all of it. Because what I do with the Soul Legacy journal is not only set up my what I call my intentional living codes. It's kind of like a code and a frequency for creating an intentional life. And so the tips and the habits that I share with you in these videos, as I share as my spiritual journal, and I invite you to journal along with me as I do my spiritual journal, is it just brings it all to life. So I have several spiritual practices and daytime routines that actually fuel me. So if you are not subscribed to the Soul Legacy TV YouTube podcast, where I talk about spirituality and spiritual business success without doing busy work, without being broke, and without experiencing burnout, then do and consider subscribing. Do comment, let me know where you are in the world, why you're watching, and how you've come to look and explore this video on intentional living. So if you're watching in my SoulLegacyAcademy.com, then I have a 2-hour monthly coaching call on intentional living. And if you want to know anything more about that, then I'll let you know more on the end. So back to my spiritual journal, the Soul Legacy journal. Do you love it? So it's called the Soul Legacy journal. This is a notebook, actually, a notebook version. And so in this journal, I talk about 365 days of your spiritual awakening story, meaning that you get to decide what intentional living means for you, and you get to decide to change the story of your life. If you don't like it today, slow it down, speed it up, move it in whatever direction that you want to. So let's dive into what intentional living is. If you're new to intentional living completely, I want to say that it is about being in alignment with your values. And so I talk about 3 things daily in this spiritual journal with me daily vlog, and that is your vision, your values, and your vibration. So that's how I frame this. So I'm going to talk about my spiritual morning routines and let you know how I'm actually putting it together. And well, you may not know that usually you teach what you need to learn most. So I've done I've had this approach of intentional living for about 3 years. I've done daily lives. I did close to 200 daily lives on Facebook before I transitioned over to YouTube. And so I really want to share what I'm doing, but not only what I'm doing and what I'm tweaking. So as I go, I've set this vision. I have my vision to be speaking with you and to support you, but also to look back and say that I've lived intentionally. I've shown up, and I've spoken out, and I've served deep. So that's kind of my intention as well, doing these daily lives in my spiritual journal, and sharing about intentional living and giving tips, and sharing my own habits, like personal day to day, is intentional. So I mentioned the intentional living codes. So a way to really live an intentional life and set intentions in 7 areas of your life. And so today is day 4. So you'll see me in different t-shirts every single day. So today it's green, it's Environmental Freedom Thursdays. So Monday is Contribution Freedom Monday. Health freedom is on a Tuesday for intentional living. Emotional freedom is on a Wednesday for intentional living. Then environmental freedom Thursday. Tomorrow is, which I'll be going live every single day, is relationship freedom. Fridays for intentional living, and then spiritual freedom Saturdays. Every single week, we live intentionally through spiritual practices like this, what I'm going to be sharing with you. And then on a Sunday, it's financial freedom. So we want to spend our finances intentionally. So every single day, I'm going to dive into tips, habits, what I've done that day, my perspective of the day, the books that I've read, the practices, the crystals that I have, the cards that I've pulled. So I usually save the cards. So today's crystal is a quartz crystal I'm going to share with you. So I use that as part of my spiritual morning routine. I've pulled previously throughout this week. These are the cards that have come up, and so I've been writing those down in my spiritual journal. These are cards from Keepers of the Light. On Monday, we got Melchizedek for higher learning. On Tuesday, we got Shania. I can't say all of the names. And then we got the Holy Spirit yesterday. And then today, I'm going to share with you at the end. So stay to the end, because the messages have been beautiful, and I know that they're for me and they're also for you. It's very intentional, and the energy of which I pull the cards and I ask for the Keepers of the Light what message it is I need to share with you. Very, very intentional. This is Carl Gray's Oracle cards. I only have one, and I've been learning, and I'm learning to tune into that. So that's what I'll do at the end. So I talk about crystals, talk about Think and Grow Rich, talk about the books that I've read. So let me share with me actually in the comments what you do for your spiritual morning routine. Do you have one? Do you stick to it? Do you have practice in your spiritual morning routines to live intentionally? And what are your habits that are supporting you and not supporting you? So for today, we're going to talk about environmental freedom. And the first thing that I do, I said, these three things, these three topics, these three focuses, these three areas that I want to talk about that help me to live really intentionally and set intentions. And I set intentions every single day. I'm always checking to see if I'm in alignment, not obsessively, but just because I plan out my day and I measure. So the first thing that I do in my spiritual journal, in my spiritual morning routine, is write the date in the spiritual journal, in the Soul Legacy journal. So if you don't have a journal, then you can journal along with me, write some notes. This is a notebook. And so I write the date of today, and then I write also the next week. So I have a spiritual vision board challenge. It's a 7-day challenge. And I talk about 1 week to raise your frequency and get your spiritual morning routines in alignment with your actual vision board. So if you imagine, on Monday, we talked about how you want to contribute out in the world, your light work and your lifestyle. And then on a Tuesday, we talk about your health. Wednesday, we talk about your emotions. Today, we talk about environment. So if you haven't done the vision board challenge, I suggest you do that, because this will make more sense. But some of the things that I have, we start with vision. So we do a year out on your vision board, and then I do a monthly spiritual plan with me. But this spiritual journal and my spiritual morning routines are set for a week at a time. So with contribution, with environmental freedom Thursday, I want to go Thursday to Thursday. So I'm not thinking about this area of my life and planning out this area. I might tweak it, but I'm looking at 1 week at a time. So essentially 4 days in the month, or depending on 5, sometimes you'll focus on that area. So you're just setting those intentions. It's not every minute of every day. And then you check to see how is your intentional living codes and the practices going. Is it working? Are you being intentional? Are you being mindful, or are you giving it lip service? I've noticed obviously my own habits, so I want to give you tips throughout that. So one tip is to write the date and then set the intention and your tasks and your plans, and visualize yourself. Where are you today, and where do you want to be? What do you want to do accomplish by the next week? And it will be in alignment with your vision, your overall vision for how you want to make a difference in the world, what your purpose is, what your job is, what your light work is in your lifestyle. It doesn't make sense to break up each area of your life and then be independent of each other. So they're all integrated. So with the environmental freedom, I have a vision on my vision board to travel while I teach. Obviously, the world has gone the way it's gone. I was going to say crazy, but the world's gone the way it has. And so that's not exactly possible for some people. Some people would do it anyway. Me, I'm like, okay, let me just do what I need to do for right now. And one of those things is where I want to work, what it is I want to do. So I'm doing these videos on YouTube because I'm the producer of the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network, so, and the founder of the SoulLegacyAcademy.com. So the environment that I want to work in order to support me in traveling, because there's no point in putting something on your vision board and then you don't back it up with your spiritual routine, morning routines and your daily routines and your nighttime routines. Some people put things on their vision board and they go off about their life and do something completely different, and then say, hey, why are all the intentions that I set, why am I not living intentionally? Like, have to marry that vision with your habits. And so one tip is to set, rather than having big, massive, extravagant goals, like crazy goals, is to set a vision for 12 months, but have a top priority goal that you want to accomplish. So for me, I have for my contribution on a Monday, that sets the stage for the rest of the areas of my life. It sets the stage for how I contribute, and it sets the stage for my financial freedom, and then everything else in between. So the everything else in between is environmental freedom as well. So if I contribute in the world the way that I want to on YouTube, with my online teaching platform, doing interviews, with my books, with my notebooks, doing different things. I'm here in the UK and I'm speaking to you online, going global. That was my intention, to go global, and have retreats, virtual retreats, in-person retreats, etc. But having that and traveling, a lot of people do travel, want to travel, and they have to go get a job in other countries, or things kind of dry up, or they sell everything. That's not what I wanted to do. So I'm good with creating an environment and work and leveraging that to actually support me in that travel. So I've got that peace of mind, and I love working one-to-many. I've got an itchy foot. I love working one-to-many rather than working one-to-one. So that's an environment that I have created for my light work and my lifestyle. Does that make sense? So the vision that you have determines the kind of things that you would do for in your spiritual morning, right? So do include in your spiritual journal what it is that is connected with the vision. So if you're not clear on what it is that you want to have experience, or the work that you want to do for home, if you're working for someone else and you want to work for yourself, I work with spiritual business owners, and so I have this teaching, this journal, with spiritual journal with me in my online teaching portal. So I talk about environment. How do I want to work? Where do I want to work for my light work? What kind of lifestyle do I want to have? And I want to leverage the two. And so the environment that I wanted to create was to be able to duplicate what I say and what I do over and over and over again. And so I say my intention is, and my daily intention for my environment is to launch, lead, and leave my soul legacy with ease, grace, and flow. That's one of the things I say that I connect to environmental freedom. And so launching, leading, and leaving my soul legacy means me really showing up deeply, but leveraging the way that I show up, so that if someone's watching in my Soul Legacy Academy, I don't have to be there all of the time. I do show up in my work, but everything is set and scheduled for 7 years. Like literally all of my calls, my content, you'll see on the Soul Legacy TV YouTube podcast, depending on where you're watching or listening to this, that my daily lives are set up for like a year, or my challenges, or my YouTube summit, my spiritual awakening YouTube. So it's all set, because that's the environment I know that I'm going to show up in. To do this video, I didn't just press live on YouTube. It's actually scheduled out in StreamYard. So the next day you can click a reminder. It's there. There's over 100 days, because that's all it would let me do at this point. 100 days of these lives, because that's the environment that I wanted to show up. I wanted to work in. This is me working. People have said to me when I did my 200 lives on Facebook, they were like, this is not marketing. I go, it absolutely is. This is me having a conversation. I believe that marketing is having a conversation. So this is me showing up, having a conversation, merging my light work and my lifestyle. I'm sat on my couch. I've got my feet up. I've literally got my lounge pants on, and I'm speaking to you. That's the environment that I wanted to work in. This is kind of like, I'm in the corner of my living room, and I've left my, what's that called, ring light up. And that's it. That's me journaling, just in that environment. It's a beautiful environment, actually, which I love. So all that to say, I set the stage for the week. So if I know that I want to create videos for my life, so my spiritual journal, and I want to live intentionally, and I don't want to be pushed and pulled, and I don't want to, what I do want to do is have that ease, grace, and flow. I plan out, so I know that my environment, I've planned out for the next week. So I say from today, Thursday, then when I check in, have I done what I need to do? I'll look on my calendar, I'll see messages, calls, content that I need to create in this next week to show up in the environment. So that's light work, right? So I've got these lives, they're scheduled out, everything. I've got a masterclass next Monday. That's scheduled out. Just everything is done, and I have online teaching which I've got to update and record, but I know, and it's all in place. I love it. And so my intention in my environment is to be efficient and organized. So that's the intention that I set. That's kind of my North Star, and I'll share more in a second about that, but that's what I want to be checking on. Am I efficient and am I organized in my lifestyle? I actually am. I have some things where I'm like, okay, I haven't done that, but it's the priority that, like, does this need to be done first, or does this need to be done first? And sometimes when you set goals and intentions, and you have every intention of living intentionally, you're like, why am I so confused? Things are not working out. Sometimes you have to tweak things. So let me know if you are efficient and organized, and what is really important to you in your environment. For me, it is being organized, it's being efficient, everything has its home. I like to be in an environment that is clean and that feels good. When I'm doing my spiritual morning routine and I'm doing my journal, then I set the stage, my environment, and it's beautiful. I have my candle if it's dark, sometimes it's not. I have my incense, I have my crystals now, I'm learning about that. I have my cards around me. Today I had, what was it called? I can't say it really loud, but for the A word that plays the music when you ask it to. I had ocean atmosphere music. It was gorgeous. Like most of the day, it was just so nice. So I usually, for me, living intentionally is about whether I'm in soul funk or I'm in soul flow. If I'm in soul funk, then I'll write about it. I'll journal in my spiritual journal, and I'll sit down on a morning, or like throughout the day. I don't always do my spiritual journal as part of my spiritual morning routine because I'm so organized. Usually I'll go in my office and I'll get out of my brain what is in there. Sometimes I will sit and plan, because I've been doing these videos. I've been planning and organizing more so. So I want to know if I'm in soul funk and if I'm in soul flow in every given situation in my life. I love quotes, and I have when I go into my office and I look at my Mac, I have a momentum app on my as my what's that called, screensaver. Like, so no, so when I go onto a new tab, it opens. That's an environment. Like, I love my work. I love doing what I do, and that's a clean environment as well. And so just starting off my day with those quotes, I've used it for a long time, but I didn't really pay attention. And now every single day I look forward to it, and I'll share the quote with you that I get. Don't know if it's the same quote that everybody gets, but I love this. So this was today's quote in my environment, which was on my Mac, which inspired me to share with you. So this quote is: treat people as if they were what they ought to be, and you will help them become what they are capable of being. I'll say that again. Treat people as if they were what they ought to be, and you will help them become what they are capable of being. That's a quote by Iona Wolfgang von Goethe, I think. Do you know what? I'm not good with names. I have a learning dyslexia, right? So that's the part of the vision that I wanted to have. I wanted to have my Mac. I wanted to have my Blue Yeti mic. I wanted to have my Logitech camera. I've got my iPhone now. I've got my... Do you know, I wanted to have that as my environment for my work. It wasn't always like that, but I've got the tools. So, you know, if you haven't got the tools to do your work in the environment that you want to do, put them on your vision board. I definitely suggest. What other else do I do? So I've got my North Star value statement, intentional living. If you haven't been through that spiritual vision board practice challenge, I talk about and give tips, more tips on the habits and stuff. And so this I say about my North Star, and I pick a couple of values for each area of my life. So this is being organized and efficient. So this is my intentional statement, and I'll tap on it on a daily basis. I haven't tapped on it today because we went out shopping, because right now it's like Christmas time nearly, and I hadn't celebrated Christmas I did the first year after my son passed, and I haven't since. So it's been 5 years since I've celebrated Christmas. So that's a really big deal for me, meaning that the environment that I have been in and what I wanted to actually create. So there's things in my environment now that are not normally, but so I didn't tap. But we had a nice time. We actually managed that time. And I say about being organized and efficient, and I'm going to read that statement in just a second. But it shows up, being intentional and living an intentional life shows up, doesn't just show up like in your spiritual morning routine or just I'm going to journal. I'm setting it up. So what I'm saying here in this statement, I live out and I walk my talk. So we wrote, my partner and my daughter, we wrote down, I said, you know, do you want to do a list? Wrote a list. Everybody contributed to this list, made sure everybody wanted what they wanted, would get what they wanted to get. And we went shopping. My partner and I went shopping and went around the supermarket, went around a couple, I think 3 places in the end. One place did the bulk of things. Right, what's on the list? What's next? What's this? Because when we walk there, obviously, you know, when the holidays times, it's busy, that environment, what's going on in the world, all the masks, everything. So we went, and things just seemed to glide around us, because when we first was approaching, it's like, oh wow, all the trolleys had gone and blah blah blah. But you know, we were provided for, we walked around, and it was just smooth. It's like, we'll get this, you get that, we'll get this. And then by the time we went to the checkout and things, it was just beautiful. It was just really, really nice. Traffic was backed up one way when we were going, when we were mindful of that. When we were leaving the store, it dissipated, it gone. Lights were green, all of the things. It was just beautiful. So we set the intention and the energy forth before, and then when I came home, just made sure the fridge was all clean, put the shopping in. It's just, I love ease, grace, and flow. My partner's like, oh, that was really good. It's like, it was, wasn't it? No stress. It was good. So this is what helps with that, is basically what I want to say to you. So for me, living intentionally is the small things and the big things. So I say, I'm so happy, and I'll tap, I'm so happy and I'm grateful, and I appreciate being an efficient and organized me. I'm at peace with being efficient and organized, and I love acting and moving as my efficient and organized self in this form. I walk my talk and I feel like my best self, efficient and organized in my lifestyle and my light work. I love living an intentional life. I acknowledge the intentional living codes, what I'm sharing with you, and my spiritual morning routine, my spiritual daytime routine, my spiritual nighttime routine are supporting me in living an intentional life. And the reason why I say that little statement there, and I say it, and then it won't be until next Thursday that I say it again, is because it's like an anchor that comes back to being efficient, walking my talk, and feeling at my best. Sometimes when we set an intention and we think about intentional living, it's like there's a conflict inside. So we have a vision, but we're not that version of ourselves, and we don't necessarily feel comfortable. People might say, or we might think that people say, whether they say it or not is a different matter, and some people do. Who do you think you are, and why do you, when you're up leveling, it's like, there's a fear. Sometimes there's fear of judgment and fear of all of the things. So even a fear of success. So we talk about spirituality and business success in the SoulLegacyTV, and sometimes we have a fear of success. So that's just me being as successful and efficient and organized in my environment, in my work and my lifestyle. And then what I will do actually is I'll share. I read books, a lot of books. I have a book club in the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network. So if you are into books, if you have a book inside of you, I have a book inside of me. You'll have in the links, there's a free chapter that you can have of my book. And on the Soul Legacy TV, if you check in the about, if you click about, then it'll go onto the about page, and then you'll see on the playlist and stuff and links and all things. And you'll see that there's book launch videos. So there's a free chapter. There's a link to my free chapter. My book is called What's Coming Up. It'll be released in May on my son's birthday. It's called Spiritual YouTubers from Scratch, a soul-guided influencer's compass to leverage your light work and lifestyle on YouTube. So that's what I wanted to do. Again, you teach what you need to learn the most, right? And so I read books, and I was reading Think and Grow Rich, and one of the things that, and I'm going to read part of that again today. I read it every single day because it's that repetition. Part of that is to read a statement out loud. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this statement, and if you've heard me say this on a daily, you need to hear it again and let me know what your statement is. If you do read the book Think and Grow Rich, I actually have the Mastermind volume. I have a Mastermind in the Soul Legacy Academy. So if you're watching this and you are in the Mastermind, do your homework. So I talk about books, and in particular Napoleon Hill. And so he says to say a statement, an affirmative statement, every single day for 100 times, repeat it 100 times every single day. Like, lots of people don't want to do that. Living intentionally, it sounds like everything would just come to you. You have to create and vibrate, raise your own frequency. So he gives examples of a statement and then says choose your own. So the affirmative statement that I resonate with at this time was everything I touch turns to gold. But I wanted to integrate the intentional living codes, these the what I'm sharing with you each day, into that practice. So I leverage that and say, instead of saying everything I touch turns to gold, I say every freedom I touch turns to gold. And then I'll say contribution freedom Monday 11. So that's a tip to choose an affirmative statement, read Think and Grow Rich for Short, and follow it through 100 times a day. So what I decided to do was tap on it and look in the mirror. So for me, the tips that I share is about leverage. So, you know, if you've got a statement, look in the mirror, tap on it, do what you need to do. So mine is, I'll tap and I'll say every freedom I touch turns to gold, contribution freedom Monday. Every freedom I touch turns to gold, health freedom Tuesday. Every freedom I touch turns to gold, emotional freedom Wednesday. Every freedom I touch turns to gold, environmental freedom Thursday. And I'll say 11 because the 11 is the gateway. We rate our area of our life, not from 1 to 10, but from 1 to 11, how connected we feel. So I'll say 11 because that's an anchoring to connect with my soul. Every freedom I touch turns to gold, relationship freedom Friday. Every freedom I touch turns to gold, spiritual freedom Saturday. And then I'll go under my arm and I'll say every freedom I touch turns to gold, financial freedom Sunday. And so if you're new to me and you haven't heard me talk in my spiritual journal and you haven't seen the spiritual journal, spiritual vision board challenge, I use a wheel to make this like super simple. I don't think I have it. I don't have it. I will print it off actually. I use the wheel similar to the wheel of life to see how fulfilled you are in each area of your life. So we use the soul, I call it the Soul Legacy wheel, and we rate our area of our life between a 1 and 11. And that 1 and 11 is about soul funk versus soul flow. We are souls having a human experience. So when you're thinking about living intentionally, it's intentionally living out your soul's expression. So saying that if you feel stuck and if you do feel in soul funk, then using your spiritual journal on as part of your spiritual morning routine is huge. It's huge. It's huge just to connect back. So we rate between a 1 and 11. So my rating today is for environmental freedom is definitely an 11. I believe I wrote an 11 this morning. Let me check. Yes. So far this week for my ratings for contribution freedom, Monday I got an 11. Let me know what your contribution freedom rating is. If you are in the Soul Legacy Academy, you'll know more. Health freedom Tuesday was 10 for me. Emotional freedom Wednesday was 11, and environmental freedom Thursday is 11. And at the end of the week, we'll see how high we were vibing and where we plot our vibrational frequency on the Soul Legacy wheel. So that imagine if you have a wheel and like the wheel of life, and it's like a bicycle wheel with spokes, and you break your life down like a pizza, like wedges, and you name the areas of your life. For us, it's contribution freedom, health freedom, emotional freedom, environmental freedom, relationship freedom, and financial freedom. And then because each area is not necessarily the same number, like the outer ring, if say 1 was 2, 1 was 5, 1 was 7, you'd plot the graph of this circle and you'd try and roll it like a bicycle wheel, and it would be bumpy. So the idea is to have a balanced life. Some people call it a level 10 life, like getting your life to be at a level 10, like the ultimate life. And some people don't even believe that they can get there. Rather than focusing on the physical world to push and pull you, I focus on your soul's expression and connecting with your higher self, raising your vibration, how you feel, so you don't rely on external circumstances. So say I want to travel, right? I want to travel while I teach. If I'm not there yet, or I'm not able to do that because we're on lockdown or we're in the middle of a global pandemic, then I would be unhappy. I would say, oh, well, I'm really unfulfilled. Like that's a 2. That's a 0 on the wheel of life because I'm not able to do that. However, I'm not going to rate my environment because I'm not traveling and teaching. I'm saying I'm it doesn't matter where I am. Do you know what I mean? I'm setting that intention and preparing myself for that. So that is that. So at the end of the week, we'll have these ratings. I'll share that more on Sunday. Let me read this statement. It's called the self-confidence formula. And right about now, when I'm ready to read that, nearly every single day, I felt like this swimmy kind of feeling. I don't know what that is. I genuinely don't know what that is. I have to share it because it puts me off a little bit. And these are live. I don't edit my videos. That's part of my honesty and my integrity. I always wonder what people do with their videos, their YouTube videos, when they're editing stuff out. It's like, what did you say? So you'll get all of me in my spiritual journal. This is me journaling. I don't even have my pen. So so in Think and Grow Rich, this is the workbook part of Think and Grow Rich. The Mastermind. So I'm helping you out. I've just lost the page. I'm helping you out if you're in the Mastermind and showing you that I walk my talk. So this self-confidence formula is to give you the confidence to train your subconscious mind to kind of help you get out of your own way. And I'm not sure why people come on. I'm not sure what that is. All right, so this is the statement. I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definiteness of purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. And so if you do read Think and Grow Rich and it says you have the ability to achieve your object of your definiteness of purpose, depending on what your purpose is or part of your purpose, and I do believe that you find your purpose in the trenches, it comes to you, in terms of your light work, in terms of working. So for me, if part of my purpose is to be online and to be on YouTube, the ability to achieve it, I do have the ability, but you've got to learn certain skills. And so in Think and Grow Rich, he talks about where would you get the skills, where would you get the knowledge, where would you learn? And so that's why I wanted to share with you all that I know. I do a lot of teaching. This is the lifestyle part of my teaching. You'll see a lot on the Soul Legacy Academy. Demanding of yourself persistent, continuous action. That's me showing up, journaling. So most of us journal. If you're watching this, you're probably thinking about living intentionally. You probably do journal. It'd be amazing for you to share your own processes. I've got an eyelash. Your own processes with your audience. Promise to render such action. You promise yourself. The second part of this statement is, I realize the dominating thoughts in my mind will eventually reproduce themselves into outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will, and you've got to have emotion with this, I'm just reading it. Excuse me. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. So this is relating to your definiteness of purpose. It's also relating to who you be. So when you think of living intentionally, it's not the journey. It's not the destination. It's a journey of who are you being? Who are you becoming? Every single day, if you live intentionally and if you use these, what I call the 7 freedoms frequency, and you come to the intentional living call-in gym each month on the 2-hour call, then you grow. But before you grow, you've got to set that intention, have a clear mental picture in your mind. What environment do you want to be in? Where are you? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing in your light work? What are you doing in your lifestyle? I know that through the principle of auto-suggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. And so all of this spiritual journal, all of the intentional living, all of setting intentions is me practicing what I preach and practicing what I'm reading 30 minutes daily. Do you do that? What do you do for your 30 minutes? Hopefully you'll spend that time with me. I have clearly written down the definite description of my chief aim in life. I have, and I won't read that bit. And I will never stop until I shall have developed sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. And it does take confidence to be on camera. It does take confidence to run a spiritual business. It does take confidence to have people in your environment that support you, and it takes confidence to say no to the people who don't. Do you know what I mean? Just surround yourself with really good people. I just felt I needed to say that. I fully realise that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and in the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I love that. So the whole book, Think and Grow Rich, this is the workbook part of it. I love it. Do you love that? And so, you know, when you read a book, are you intentional with your reading it? Do you read it over and over again? Do you do what the author actually says? So for my my book, I will share what I call the Soul Guided Influencers Way, and it's 11 principles for starting and building a successful online spiritual business on YouTube. And so I will be sharing what it is that I do. That is the vision that I had. Let me see what else I wanted to do. I was talking about my vision board. I want to actually live in Canada. That's the whole thing for me. Eventually, and that's the intention that I set. I talked about my environment in the morning. I gave my North Star. I am going to give my card at the end, and I'm actually going to play the soul income game with you. I want to share a book that I was reading today, and it's called, hang on, I'm just going to have a sip of, it's called, and this came to me last night because I didn't have a book for environmental freedom on my vision board. I have lots and lots of books, so every day I'll read or listen to a certain book to support me in that area of my life. And yesterday, this is what happens when you live intentionally and you set intentions, the universe fills it in. So I had an Audible credit. I had an extra one this month, so I bought a book, and then I had an extra one, and I was like, what book do I want to have? So I didn't look at my wish list, to be fair. I was like, it doesn't feel right. I'm not sure. But usually I'll set the intention and a perfect book will come out within hours. I was listening to Jay Shetty interview Oprah Winfrey and her co-author of this particular book. You might know what it is. And I was like, that's the book. I literally went on Audible, and it's called What Happened to You, I believe. Yeah, What Happened to You. And so the book is just the way that they were describing the book. She actually had gone on a book tour. Jay Shetty was interviewing her. Let me know if you've heard of this book by Oprah Winfrey. And what happened to you? Oprah shares that she was sharing in the interview lots of different things, but she was sharing that her therapy has been in front of her audience. She was in the environment. We're talking about environmental freedom Thursday. You'll probably know who Oprah is. She was on the TV, had her own show. Now she's on YouTube. She's doing loads on YouTube, actually. She's doing like in her home, in her garden, she's doing art. If YouTube is good enough for Oprah, it's good enough for me. It's just beautiful to watch, like really more personal stuff. It's really nice. So in this interview, so the environment that I like to learn from is YouTube as well. And obviously you're here, so it's YouTube as well. And she said, what happened to you? Basically, the book is about like what happened to you when you were young, and what went into your subconscious mind when you were young, between 0 and 6, she says. For me, I was in childcare for like 20, 30 years, whatever, a long time, on and off. And it used to be 0 to 7, but she says 0 to 6, whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's only. And they were talking about what happens to you even from a baby, like to 2 months old. Sometimes you're not going to know the things that happened to you that were that shape who you are, who you become. And so your environment where you grew up, the things that you were exposed to, the experiences, what you saw and what you heard, just be mindful of that legacy of those that came before us, the environments that they were in. So Oprah was sharing that she had been whipped when she was younger, and as I was listening to it, I'm like, well, where it was her grandmother, where was her grandmother raised? You know, what did she experience as well? That's not an excuse, but it's that whole you know, our environments really do matter, where we show up and who we show up with. So it was really interesting the way that she was sharing, and she was saying, and Jay Shetty and her co-author Bruce, I can't remember what his name is, that even if you've been in environments that were not supportive, you can turn that, if you've had trauma or what have you, you can, what do they call it, post-traumatic wisdom. So even if you have experienced certain things, and I feel like this is true for me, you can use a painful experience and turn it into that power, turn it into your truth that fuels you. And they were given examples. So I'm really looking forward to listening to this book. It's really, really, really interesting for me anyway. And they talk about like accepting certain things. So if you're, obviously what's going on in the world, we're in certain environments, and maybe some that we want to be in, some that we don't, but it's when you start to accept it and, you know, and move through it rather than trying to resist it, and it makes it a lot easier to cope with and deal with. So that is the book that I'm going to be reviewing. That is the book that I'm going to be listening to for Environmental Freedom Thursday. So as part of my spiritual morning routine, I've got a crystal, which is a quartz crystal. And then I'm going to talk about the soul income game. And then I'm going to end and wrap up with the cards to stay to the end. All right. Let me know how you're finding it. How you're finding living intentionally. Any of the tips that I'm giving helpful? What are your habits? Are you staying true to them? So today is Heart Chakra Thursday in Robin Knott's world, my lead soul guide instructor. So this is a rose quartz crystal. I was told a long time ago to get one, and now I have one. So I'm really, really pleased about that. So this is for the heart, and it says, basically, I'm going to read. I got my little book of crystals this week. And so I'm going to read what this crystal is. Let me know if you use the power of crystals and the energy of crystals. All right, cool. All right, so a rose quartz that is best for matters of the heart and calming friction in relationships of all kinds. So depending on the relationship, the environment that you're in and the relationships that you have will matter. So rose quartz has a gentle blush pink color and is known as the crystal for matters of the heart. It emits powerful nurturing vibrations to your heart chakra, which can be used to boost self-love, emotional balance, friendship and romance. Romance. It helps to lower stress levels and dissipate feelings of resentment, upset and jealousy. All of the things that I'm sharing with you are for you too. All the things I get are for you too. So hopefully it will help. So crystal tips. The rose quartz stone can be used as part of a daily morning meditation, as part of your spiritual morning routine, living intentionally. I need to stop doing that with sorry. So try this simple exercise to promote instant calm. You'll kind of just get to know me. I just don't be raw and real. Think of a positive word to use in your mantra. So when I first learned about transcendental meditation, I was like, what word do they give you? They give you a word, and I didn't know the kind of words, but mine would be freedom, or excuse me, or the phrase, every freedom I touch turns to gold. I yawned on camera. I'm sorry, I don't edit my videos. It is quite late here in the UK. So think of a positive word to use in your mantra. It could be something like peace, happy, or calm. What word comes to your mind for you to use? Sit on the floor with your legs crossed loosely or stretch out, whatever is most comfortable. Hold your rose quartz in your dominant hand and rest your hands in your lap. Close your eyes and feel soothing vibrations of the stone. As you take a deep breaths, say your positive mantra each time you exhale. Do this for 5 minutes as a wonderful way to prepare yourself for the day ahead. So you can include that into part of your morning routine, a daily routine, whatever for your spiritual routine, just 5 minutes a day. I haven't done it today, but I'm going to do it. I haven't done it this morning, but I will do it before bed. Place, and I've been using that, the crystals for nighttime meditation. I always say, I don't even need to meditate. I'm all good. And I'm just going to do it anyway, because that's what I feel called to. My first card for this week said about meditation. I was like, okay, I got it. I'm doing it. So place small pieces of rose quartz throughout your home and your workplace to help disperse negative energies and promote feelings of joy and togetherness. Wear a rose quartz pendant to ease stress and encourage calm. Is that beautiful? Is that partly for you? So I am going to read the card. I'm going to reveal the card in just a second. So the last thing that I want to share with you, as I do my spiritual journal and living intentionally, is I share about my spiritual vision board, but we have a game. So if you haven't watched the spiritual vision board challenge, again, it'll be in the cards and in the description, maybe in the comments. I was inspired by a book called Ask and It Is Given. And I have to put the context in it, otherwise you just think I'm really crazy. So Esther Hicks, and through Abraham's teachings of Jerry and Esther, they have a process on, it's page 177 of the book that I have. It's on my table, so I can't get it. And it's called The Prosperity Game. I talk about prosperity consciousness and poverty consciousness. You want to create your vision board with a prosperity consciousness. You want to raise your vibrational frequency every single day. Part of journaling is going from a poverty consciousness to a prosperity consciousness. Doing Think and Grow Rich, the same thing. And when I was reading Think and Grow Rich, actually I digress. When I was reading Think and Grow Rich today, and Abraham, Esther and Jerry Hicks always talked about Think and Grow Rich as well. Part of what he was saying is, like, this chapter, which chapter was it, 1 or 2? I can't see, but they were talking about going into business with Thomas Edison going into business with Barnes, and him actually having a burning desire. It was a chapter on burning desire, and he says basically he had a burning desire inside of him. You might have a burning desire inside of you, but he turned up to work with Barnes, and he wanted to be in business with him, but he actually looked like an absolute tramp. Yeah, this is no disrespect to the tramps, but that's what he turned up. That's what it says. He looked like a tramp, but his thoughts were like a king. So even though his circumstances, he didn't have the environment that was, all set up for him for success, but he worked it. He kept in his mind his burning desire, and it actually took him 5 years. He was cleaning, he was doing menial jobs for Barnes, and he didn't get any breaks, no sign of it, but he kept going. So if you've got a dream and a vision, keep going, keep going. And what he did was put himself in the environment that opportunity would come to him. So for me, for the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network, it's like, okay, well, if you want to be a spiritual YouTuber, do YouTube videos. If you want to write it. You want to be an author, write every day. If you want to do your light work, do your light work, serve, So it's that going from a prosperity consciousness to a poverty consciousness to a prosperity consciousness. And I wanted to support you in that, like altering your vibration and just really believing in yourself. So the prosperity game that Esther and Jerry Hicks channel through Abraham's teachings, they talk about giving you money every day, $1,000 a day, pounds or euros, whatever, and then 2,000 the next day, and then 3,000. Then when you're on day 50, it's 50,000. When you're on day of spending this money, and the idea and the intention is to feel a different way when you are, you know, living intentionally, you're spending intentionally. So if you are not in alignment with your financial freedom goal, it blocks you from supporting all the other areas of your life. No, money doesn't help for everything. It can't buy everything, but it can assist you, right? So it can assist you in so many different things. I'm not even going to name them. And so what I wanted to do was play the soul income game. So I was inspired by that game, but I didn't want to do it. So by day 300, you're spending literally 300,000 on that day. You do it for a whole entire year, you spend 66 million. And I was just like, that is a lot of energy and time and to focus on that. So the Soul Legacy journal, which is this journal, is a magical journal. It's a notebook actually, but I'm going to be doing the journal, and it gives you £1,000, dollars, euros, whatever currency a day. So as you're doing your spiritual journal and your spiritual morning routine, I'm going to encourage you to spend £1,000, dollars, or euros every single day on the things that are on your vision board, you living an intentional life. So things that are for your environment, things that you want to have for, you know, maybe it's a home, maybe it's something for your home. There's rules to the game. You cannot spend it on bills, and you cannot put it on savings. And also the rule is to tithe 10%. So you get the feeling of giving, just not hoarding that money. Like when you think of it, it's like, well, I wouldn't tithe when I got the money. It's that hoarding of it. So you want the energy to be free flowing. You want to be contributing out into the world, giving, and you want to be open to receiving. And we're going to practice that vibration. So if you're in the Soul Legacy Academy, you'll kind of get more because there's more teaching, and then there's a 2-hour monthly call. Again, if you want to know more of that, down in the description at the very end, there's my masterclass, and I talk about banking 50k in 50 days. So you can jump on that and learn more. And again, the free chapter in my book, I actually have a VIP day as well that I'm gifting to a certain number of people. So get on the masterclass, and I'll let you know more about the soul income game. So you have £1,000, dollars, or euros. I actually am going to tithe. I've tithed my 10% already today, and I tithe it to Careers bereavement care because that was important to me. And then I'll save mine until Sunday. So on Financial Freedom Sunday, I'll share with you what I buy, and how I feel about buying them, and you know, how I'm using them. So today, as I was doing my crystals and my journaling in my spiritual morning routine, I noticed that, yeah, I'm learning about the crystals and things, and I wanted to learn more about the chakras. So I bought a little book of chakras as well. And then I was like, oh, I could have, I saw on Amazon, like they show you everything. Oh, there's incense, chakra, you know, there's all kinds of things. So I will put those kinds of things on my vision board as well. All right, so the last thing that before I want to wrap up, and thank you for spending this time with me and journaling with me. Let me know how it's going. We're on day 4. Yeah, let me know how effective this is. So this is Keepers of the Light, Oracle deck. I can't, it's probably about there, and you might not be able to see it, by Carl Gray. And the card that came to me for us, I guess I'll have to learn. I see people doing this, right? Do you see that? It's an absolute ring completely. Freya, anyway. Phases and cycles. Every day the cards have kind of just jumped out to me. This is, and so I'll put this in my spiritual journal. I'll write it down, and then I'll write down some of the meanings. So I'll read this out in a second. There is a beginning within every ending. Illusions are revealed and released. I love that. It's so on point for me. All right, so about this card, Freya, which means lady, is the Norse goddess of the moon and love. She is the twin flame of Odin, a warrior goddess who offers deep spiritual and physical protection to those who call on her. She will stand before you, and her shield and spear keeping you safe from harm. She works closely with the moon energy and helps us recognize that our life cycle is, our life is a cycle that is always changing. She herself is a maiden, the mother, and the crone aspect of all women, and guides them to see the wisdom these cycles bring. We all go through phases and cycles of growth, and Freya is the energy that supports this. She has a raven totem, which is said to represent her capacity to travel between heaven and earth. The extended message is a phase of your life may be coming to an end, but it's important to acknowledge it's not the end. That so rings true for me. Does it ring true for you? When one door closes, another opens. You may have been desperate for change, but now that it's here, you could feel vulnerable. And as it goes on to say, know that the mighty goddess Freya will guide you. Thank you. Illusions are now being revealed so that they can leave behind anything that is false. 100%. Step into your peaceful warrior-like energy. I love that. I bought Carl Gray's Light Warrior the other day for a book, and I'll talk about that as well. Light warrior energy, and welcome the changes you deserve. Tie up all loose ends and take heart. This is an exciting time. This is so on point for me. I'm going to look back next year when I'm ready to do my spiritual vision board challenge again, and I'm going to go boom. So that is it. That is a wrap. I've done my cards to recap. I've done my spiritual journal and the morning routines. I call this the 7 Freedoms frequency because we want to raise our frequency. If you are in the Soul Legacy Academy and you are on the, you're ready to get on the 7 Freedoms call-in gym, it happens on the first Monday of the month, I believe at 5 p.m. now. 5 p.m. 3 p.m. It's 2 hours, so it's got to be 3 p.m. 3 p.m. It's got to be 3. I'm sure that I've written it down for 5. Let me check. I will be checking. Anyway, my online calendar says 3 till 5. 3 till 5. Because we have other calls as well. Like I said, they're all scheduled out. It's just amazing. Everything that I've talked about will be in the cards. I will put the playlists and things around this video. Do subscribe to the Soul Legacy TV YouTube podcast and the Spiritual Awakening Annual YouTube Summit. I'm your soul sister, Iona. I've really enjoyed spending this time with you for day 4 of my spiritual journal. Thank you. Hopefully these tips on intentional living have supported you and you'll incorporate some of these things into your spiritual morning routine. I shall see you in the next video. Mwah. Big love. Take care.